Check one, check two. Get my, let's see if I'm on the right thing or not. About three. Welcome. Check one, check two. See if it coming on. Okay, there I am. How's everybody doing today? What's up, Jerry? What's up, Trash Can Ways? Happy Sunday. Oh man, tired already. Let's see. Boom, boom. You know how we do it. If you got any questions, just throw them in a box. Ooh, that's killing my ears. Yes, I believe it's a guinea pig. I believe they're. Where are you migrating to, Professor Black? Where migrating to, as in state or life engineering cannabis? Um, Give me a little more context with that. Yeah, I believe it, JM. I believe they're testing. I think they're getting ready to attack us. To be honest, they've been practicing on Ukraine for like 10 years. So I guess they're lined up at the border now. So I was going to do another quick video, but yeah, I think they're guinea pig, and I think they're practicing on. I think Russia's practicing on Ukraine to get to us. That's my 2 cents. Let's see. So let's go over the. We usually go over the videos I did this week. Give people a little time to file in. This actually is Monday. If you see it on the screen, which I can. My attorney's in town, so she's gonna do a will, a trust, estate planning. Don't fail. I think a lot of people lose money when their parents die and property and all that. No, I was just playing around. Gail, the big time moderator, told me to put my Cash App somewhere. So I was messing with this title, Engineering Cannabis. I switched over to Restream. So I'm still trying to master the Restream Engineering Cannabis. So that was IDT10 user error on me. So is World War III in cyberspace? Oh, yeah, we've been playing around in cyberspace for a minute. Miss Fox. So yeah, they just took it to the next level. We huffing and puffing, but we ain't gonna put boots in the ground for Ukraine. I mean, we might try to give them a little cyber help, but yeah. So I wouldn't call it World War III, but yeah, they in cyberspace getting it. But we've been at war in cyberspace really for the last 2 or 3 years. People been poking each other, shutting down each other. I think the Colonial Pipeline was backed by China actually. So so now Miss Gray, we've been messing around in there. So once again, my attorney's coming on tomorrow at 3 Eastern, I think 2 Chicago time. She's gonna do will, trust, and estate planning. And once again, I said I was gonna do bigger things on my channel. And I think we need to master passing down wealth, get some wealth, and figure out how to pass it down to the kids. So that's one of my big deals. So yesterday we went live with Access to Justice. She's actually running for judge in Chicago. So I talked about the security of the justice system. It's called CJIS at a high level. So I went over some of the CJIS checks, and we kind of went through digital divide for the kids. If you don't if you don't have a laptop, you can't get access to justice. While all the states are behind with getting their court system together to get there. So we chopped it up on that. You can go check out the replay. I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, tomorrow she's doing a class on estate, trust, and planning. Let's see. Let me put that on the board. I got. What do you think about first incident response, cert CF10? The debate stem is still free. I think that's a good cert. Um, is that more Is that more physical? Or is that more computer, Jerry's? I actually do incident response and disaster recovery for the big state agency I work on, so I'm familiar with those. So we actually do tornadoes, first shooter, hostage situation. So we got to do all that physically when you work for a government. But then the other side of that, from a computer perspective, is if somebody has ransomware, they got your hostage on a computer. What's the play? Who do you have to report to? On the client I'm at, they actually have to report to the governor, which I was surprised at. So, is that physical, technology, or both, Jerry? Oh yeah, I wouldn't call it World War III. Like I said, when it's World War III is when we start shutting down people electric grid. When you can't get any heat, when you actually kind of like Colonial Pipeline, when you can't get gas, that's when it's World War III. Good afternoon, everyone. Don't forget about Amazon going down. Yeah, when you're the biggest 800-pound gorilla and you get bigger companies on there and your infrastructure get big, I expect them to go down once a year, to be honest, Greg, which is kind of sad to say. But because their data centers are so big, when they do an upgrade, I mean, they upgrade is worldwide. They got data centers. I did a a video on that. They got data centers around the world. So to be honest, I expect them to go down a couple times a year. I mean, so you won't get those 7 nines, but you trying to run your own data center versus Amazon's gonna kill it. I think you just gotta need to build that into your infrastructure with your customers and make sure you're on top of it. If you're super worried about that, you need to just go multi-cloud with it. Shout out to Trash Can Waves. Go subscribe to him. He had me tearing up. He didn't even know it. It was one live. It just had me think about my mother. I like this content, so it was a great live. So he's doing great things over there. Wasn't Google Fiber supposed to be to close the digital divide? Yeah, but it does. It helps. But Greg, if my attorney's from Chicago and I'm from Indiana, part of that's rural, and the babies don't have laptops. A lot of people can't afford laptops. You really can't do your homework on your phone. I mean, so then if you're talking about broadband, if you're in the rural areas, they're still not getting broadband. And depending on where you in the city, it's super expensive. So I think it's closed, but it's still a lot of people out there struggling with that part of that. This is the one we were talking about. The Ukraine cyber attack shuts the country down. And like I said, we've been attacking each other, right? I think obviously Russia upped the ante on the Ukraine, right? Because they shut down their government buildings, but they didn't shut down their heat or their electricity or their water. I mean, you shut down water because most water centers in the United States, they got to put a certain amount of bleach, chlorine, and fluoride in there to make sure the water is good. If you attack that and shut that down, you can't drink the water, right? So I tell people I be baby prepping. I got 100 bottles of water. So if something happened to the water system, I could probably survive about 2 or 3 weeks with my water. And I'm kind of weird about it. So I actually got some rainwater I collect, because people don't realize when you go flush the toilet, it takes a ton of water. So I got about 3 big barrels of rainwater. So I'm over here hood prepping. I'm calling it the hood prepping. So I'm getting ready if we get attacked, right? Because we proved that our supply chain sucked. We were fighting over toilet paper, right? So I got 100 cans of soup. I probably got about 150, 200 bottles of water. I had more than that. My son don't be on his game, so I gave him some. So once again, it's not World War III to me until your water, your electric, your gas, and all that shut down. That's when you scaling up to cyber World War III. To me, we just tapping each other on the shoulder right now, right? So Erase all of that. Facts, facts. I'm gonna leave that alone. Salute to the B2B. I was talking to my son about B2B when he did that 30-hour live stream. My son said you should do that. I go, no, I'm not doing a 30-hour live stream. Shout out to everybody for helping me. I just need 90 hours left to get to monetization and get to 4,000 watch hours. So I'm slowly creeping up there. So thank you. Brian got his wife in there live. Would be back. Okay, cool. I got 100 rolls of toilet paper just for me. My son be teasing me. He 30, oh my God, 35. I forget how old I am. So he was over there teasing me. He came over and borrowed some toilet paper from me, trash can waste, because he broke. But I got 100 rolls just for me. Keep that a secret. Don't let that out. Get the Brita filter. That is true. I actually got a Brita filter too, but I worry that if 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 it goes for a week and you're not filtration, how much filtration can it handle though? B2B. If it's not getting any chlorine and none of it's doing what it's supposed to do, is Brita filter enough? I thought Brita filter was to take out the stuff we was putting in, right? If we're not putting in stuff, right, that's a different level of that B2B. I need to check in on that though. That's what I worry about B2B. If we're not doing anything, we're cleaning most of it like 95%. Brita's getting a 5%. What? So if we're not cleaning, can it handle the whole 100%? We're gonna need to do a live on that B2B prepping, hood prepping. That's what I call it, B2B. Got the hood prep, man. I am not. I'm in Indiana. I keep getting job offers to come to the DMV because I do federal compliance, and that's all they do, of course, in DMV. So I went out there. The housing prices in the DMV ain't no joke. Compared to Indiana, I was out there. I was like, ooh, them a big boy housing prices out there. Yeah, I'll get it. I usually get about 125 hours a week B2B. I appreciate it. So, oh wow, man! I would think you have as much as you on live and you be on there all night, man. I would just think you have so many more hours. Because when I do these, shout out to y'all for the support. I get about 30 hours, 25 hours. So trash can wet laughing at me on my toilet paper. Does watch hour include replay? Oh yeah. Replays too, casual economist. Ooh. Okay, I'm about to check that out. I'll probably get on Amazon and order. They are ridiculous. Facts. I went there, like I said, especially with remote now. Long story short, Oracle was in Bethesda, Maryland, and I was Oracle certified a decade ago, and I made my first bag doing Oracle. So I was in DMV a lot, just taking Oracle classes and just doing all that government work when I first started. I'm cool still with a lot of people that work at Oracle. So in cybersecurity, it is always a different setup on where you get hired if it's in demand in certain states. The cool thing about that, Neo Moses, the cool thing about that is now with remote work, it's a little easier to do. You don't have to go. But if you go to any of the big tech states, I did a little work in Silicon Valley. Now, housing, they were talking about $4,000 for studio apartments. I'm like, y'all crazy. Austin, Texas is huge. Cali's huge. Chicago's huge. There's a lot of places even I'm in Indiana. They have a lot of small satellite offices in Indiana because any big state where you have government agencies like State Department of Revenue, BMV, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, each state has a Department of Health and Hospitals. So any of those big capital state and even little, I actually started working out for third-party medical claims. When you got hurt and you sent in your medical bills, they entered them in, and we had a small computer system. So they didn't have a cybersecurity, but as far as technology, if you're talking about cybersecurity, usually those are a little least mid-sized to big companies, usually reporting to somebody. PCI for credit cards, HIPAA, FERPA, hospital. So usually when you have a cybersecurity office, you usually reporting to somebody in the federal agency. Once again, I work at the Department of Revenue that report to the IRS. So that's where I get all that from. Okay, where did I? Okay, salute to Wally. Oh, I'm sure. I just think it's gonna be expensive, Erica. I can find it. I'm just talking about the price of it. When I went out there, but that's probably been years ago. It was just a little pricey. Like I said, everybody's remote now, so it makes it a little easier. I keep telling folks that long live streams don't get you there like consistency does, but I only get 500s weekly, so please don't. Nah, I'm with you. I get about 500, and that's why. Shout out to you. That's why I do this one every Sunday at 3 because the consistency. Right, my audience been slowly growing. So I agree with you. Consistent. I got to get a couple more days. I'm consistent. I'm consistent on my one day right now. Black guy, his wife, their life. I'm consistent in my one day, but no, you're right. So I'm probably gonna probably pick Thursday and pick a time. But no, you're 100% right. So I'm right there. I actually got 560. I'm trying to average 600 hours a month in 2022. So I'm trying to go a little harder. So no, I agree with you on the consistency. That's true. That's true. Buy a lot and build. Austin. Yeah, shout out to my man Black Heights. He's in Austin. So yeah, Austin is super expensive, but Tesla's moving out there. Oracle's moving to Austin, Texas now. So a lot of people are just moving there. So let me share my screen again. So oh yeah, Seattle, Washington. Oh yeah, Seattle's huge because Microsoft's in Seattle and Washington. Like I said, I do federal work, man. They just that government because they spending your tax money, JM in Washington. You talking about DC or state? Seattle, Microsoft. So there's a ton of stuff in Seattle too. So no, I feel you. What's Springboard and what's your background? Facts on Texas. I keep saying I'm gonna go to Austin. Shit. I don't know about that, Erica. I do all right though. Give me the opportunity, but the housing's price is like five. Oh my God, engineer cat, you about to give me a heart attack with the house price. See, I'm in Indiana, 500,000. Man, you get a McMansion and about 10 acres, depending on where you at. Thanks you. Salute to Citizen Lou. Go check him out. He's you gotta catch him on the right day, man. He do a little everything. His programming classes be on point, man. Shout out to him. He went from boot camp to back to the big bag. Start calling B&B boot camp to the bag, man. That should be your new tagline, Citizen Lou. From boot camp to the bag. You're not the only one that needs to wear out facts while he facts. I'm trying to be, I'm pretty consistent. What's up? It's a new year. You ready? I'm trying to get ready. I can't, yeah. Trying to make a few moves. What about cybersecurity in South Florida? I know my man Tech G's in Florida. I have to do a little research. And I'm not really familiar with Florida. I know the weather's good, but as far as jobs prospects in South Florida, I would have to do a little research about that. Is this the lead long live stream? I like to do long because I make a ton of clips. Yeah, I need to start clipping a little better. I'll be checking out your clips. You, Tech G, shout out to my man Black Heights. He be clipping. I was on like 10 of his in this clip. I was like, oh, that's me. So yeah, straight on the clip. Shout out to Citizen. Let me get started on this side. Don't like the hurricanes. Shout out. I guess I do tornadoes. Is a hurricane a tornado with water, trash can waves? Facts, facts. I feel like that too, B2B. I feel like that too. The community becomes your family. I'm pretty sure. Double check. We just chopped it up on his channel, and I was pretty sure he said Florida. Double check me, ping him up. Let's flow over a couple of these slides so we can get in it. So today we talk about migration. You're on prem. You getting AWS. Citizen Lou about to get the associate architect. So we're gonna be chopping it up. So when you're on prem, how do you get your data up to AWS? Right, there's millions of ways, right? So what services are available for you? So that's kind of what we're gonna chop it up today. So one of their foundation capability slides. When you moving for migration, right? And you get up there, you got to talk to the management, supervisors, AD, get your budget. So at the middle is business processes, people, governance, platform, security, and operation, right? Fundamental. And at the top, how do you do it technology wise? How do you do it process wise, organization wise? If you got certain products, how are you moving it up? And from reduce business risk, improve the ESG, grow your revenue, increase your operational efficiency, right? So that's kind of the slide right there. And we're going to start digging into each one of those components, right? You got to align with what you're currently doing, envision. What do you envision yourself doing in the cloud, and how do you do it? Scale, right? Because when you go to cloud, people really want to scale up, for their business, right? So when you get that Christmas rush or that big contract, you got 3 servers or 10 servers, on prem, and you need 20. Do you need to go buy 20? Do you need to scale up? Is it just for one client? You might lose in 6 months, right? So when you go to AWS, you can scale that up, scale that down, right? And be agile in the cloud. So they have an AWS cloud adoption framework. They got best practices for everything. I'm thinking of Piment Pines, Florida. It's near Miami, and the school system is great. Yeah, I need to check into Florida. Spot pick your spot carefully. Facts. Anytime you move. So once again, in the cloud framework, business people, governance, platform, security, and operations. Right. So at the top, that's what we just said. And each one of those boxes are processes you need to do for the business, the people, and the governance. And once again, we're going to drill down in there. We're not going to hit every one of them, just a high level, right? When we go to the next AWS class, get more to architecture, right? We'll probably hit those boxes a little deeper, but we're just talking about the practitioner, right? Just going to touch our toe in the water. Business perspectives, ensure that IT aligns with business needs, that IT investments linked to the key business results. Use the business perspective to create a strong business case for cloud adoption and prioritize cloud adoption initiative. Ensure that your business strategies and goals align with your IT strategies and goals. Business managers, finance managers, budget owners, and strategy stakeholders, right? So you're just not going to go to cloud willy-nilly, right? I know sometimes we think IT is it and cybersecurity it, right? We're there so the company can make money, right? So we're going to make it IT more efficient, cybersecurity, right? We're trying to make sure no hackers steal the money, right? And 2 is compliance. Whatever we need and whoever we report to, right? We have the proper documentation, right? From a business perspective. And then part of the business is the strategy management, portfolio, innovation, product, strategic partnership, data monetization, business insight, and data science, right? So those are the things from the business perspective, right? We're going to meet with managers, and those are the things they want to know, right? So every company's not going to have data monetization, right? Of course, we're talking about YouTube, right? There's data monetization, right? The data is us, right? They monetize it with the commercials, and you split it, right? Of course, there's other things you can do, courses, sponsorship, right? There's a ton of other ways to add to it, right? But those are the kind of main ones. From a people perspective, which is us, your employees, what are we trying to do? Support development of an organization-wide change management strategy for successful cloud adoption. Use the people perspective to evaluate organizational structures, roles, new skills, process requirements, and identifying gaps, right? So the gaps is what you got on prem, really what you want to do in the cloud. Then the gap in the cloud is what can you afford to do? And some of that too is on intellectual property, right? You got to get your staff trained up or hire people to do that, right? That's why we say cloud is the new bag for those gaps. Human resource staffing and people managers, right? For that blocks, you got cultural evolution, transformational leadership, cloud fluency, workforce transformation, change acceleration, organizational design, and organizational alignment, right? So you got to make sure your organizational aligned to your new pipeline, how you develop it, and your new services, right? You had Oracle DBAs on prem, now you're using Oracle as a SaaS product in the cloud, right? So how does that realign your organization? Are you letting people go, or are you just letting people get new skills, right? So that's how all that lines up from a business perspective, right? So that's kind of what I've been working on from a business perspective. So let me know if you got any questions. I got to see if I'm going to Florida with Tech G, man. Everybody going to Florida. Let's see. Governance. Focus on skills process to align the strategy with business. Ensures that you maximize the business value and minimize risk. The use of governance perspectives, understand how to update the staff skills, processes necessary to ensure business governance in the cloud. Manage and measure cloud investments to evaluate the business outcome. CIO, project managers, enterprise architects, business analysts, and portfolio managers, right? So governance is governing what's happening there. Some of the governance is security governance, uh, how you do data governance, right? How long is your password? There's a lot. What region you could be in, right? I do federal work, so you got to do all your work in the United States. You can't spin up the UK region, right? So all that's governance to check on what you're doing and governance making sure you don't do something you're not supposed to do, right? Good afternoon. Oh, good afternoon from Costco Europe. I appreciate it. Shout out to NC Worker. The part of the governance, right, is program and project management, benefits, risk, cloud financial management, application, data governance, and data curation, right? The organization of inventory of data products in a data catalog, right? So when you're reporting to the government, they're going to ask you, where's your PII, federal tax information, if you HIPAA, where are your medical information? A lot of times, one of the hardest things to figure out is where is all your data, especially when you go on the cloud. Is it an S3 bucket? Is it on a Unix file system? You got it in the Windows? Are you using Teams? Is it on a OneDrive? So you got to have all that inventory, right? So you can know where it is so you can protect it. So on the cloud, you got to know where it is on prem. So when you move it to the cloud, right, you can keep track of it. You would be amazed by how many people lose their data. Is it legal to do a pen test at AWS? Yes, but they have a form you got to fill out, TT. I'm actually done one in the cloud. If you're doing like a light pen test, I'm so tired, where you just scanning for ports, but if you're actually trying to do vulnerability scans and actually breaking something, you just got to write them a letter. Because when you do a pen test, if you don't let them know, AWS gonna think they're being attacked, right? So now if you Google that TT, it's a form you do. You just tell them what time you're gonna do it and what infrastructure parts you're using. So you give them your instance name and usually the time and the place. And a lot of times too, I think they want to know what kind of attacks you're gonna do in real life. We're actually gonna do a red team, blue team on this channel, TT, where they're actually gonna attack an infrastructure that I set up. I got 3 guys on deck to actually pen test when I set up my AWS infrastructure. Let me know if I'm pronouncing TT right. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. So once again, the reason I know that is we're gonna do one on my channel. So they had a form I had to fill out. We're gonna do it's called a tabletop. We're gonna do a paper walkthrough first of a TT, so we can kind of know how they're gonna attack it and where they're gonna attack it and what services I'm gonna use. Then two is it's gonna be a kind of level two. I'm gonna give them some low level users if they can't crack me at first, because we know most users are gonna click a phishing attack. So the hacker probably is gonna have somebody account attack. So after a while, I'm gonna give them low level accounts if they can't get into my attack. So shout out to Gabe. I'm the last time I talk about it. He actually has a nuclear engineering degree. Shout out to Alpha CyberSecurity and Kenny Conjo. All those guys are pen testers and red team guys in the space. So I just told them they can't be embarrassing me on on YouTube, hack me in 30 minutes, TT. So tune in. When we do the walkthrough, I'll show how there's some security services, guard duty, inspector. They actually give you a service to build you a SOC where those services can look for rogue usernames, and if that user's doing something weird, you can the software actually quarantine it for you. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna actually walk through it and hopefully try to do a test. So I'm hoping to do that in 3 months, Gabe. They keep telling me to stop saying it until I set it up. So we're gonna do a paper walkthrough hopefully in 2 months. Then 2 months after that, we'll do the real thing. So blockchain could resolve all this. Oh, I think you're 100% correct. I think I might, because we talked about it. They got their blockchain database out there, so I'm thinking about using a little bit of that engineering cannabis. The reason why I don't want to use all of that, most people aren't that mature yet to use blockchain in their organization, right? So I want to try to use what they're using in real life. But you're right, I'm trying to in the future. I'm gonna start using AWS's blockchain to help with a lot of that. So you are correct in engineering cannabis. But you know, the people are usually behind. So good Sunday, Joe. Oh, TT, yes. So let's platform perspective includes principles and patterns for implementing new solutions on the cloud, migrating on-premises workload to the cloud, use a variety of architecture models to understand and communicate the structure of IT systems and their relationship, describe the architecture of the target state environment in detail, right? So the platform, like we talked about, what's your VPC? Like, are you doing 3-tier? How are you controlling your traffic on your VPC? Let's go up one level. Are we using? I'm a Java guy. Are we using the Tomcat service? Are we spinning those up ourselves? Are we using Apache? What database are we using? Is all that encrypted at rest and encrypted at transit? The database we're using is called table space encryption. How we're using all that in the test, right? So that's what we'll talk about in the walkthrough, how we set all that up. Then shout out to Citizen Lou. I think we're going to use Beanstalk, right? That's AWS application. You put your application in there, it handles all the communication for you. So how are we going to set that up? Are we going to use containers or grow into containers, right? I'm trying to learn Docker. There's just so many things out there. So how we get the Docker set up with that? Once again, how we control it. How do we make our attack surface smaller, right? So those are the things we're going to be going through in the walkthrough, right? Then Gabe would tell me some ways how he wants to attack. Then I could say, okay, I think this is going to block it. This is how I was blocking. I'm sure he's going to keep a few things secret. So, but then two is, of course, we're going to use MFA out the box. I'm a Cisco Duo guy. It's kind of cheap too. So that's some things, hopefully, that we're going to do with in the future on this channel, right? So we're going to do some technical stuff. Then once again, tomorrow we're doing the big picture thing, right? Trust in the States. We're going to do, like I said, just a whole bunch of different things I got planned for 2022. Let's see. Is that true that 90% of U.S. currency doesn't exist in a disaster? If anyone tried to remove their money from the bank, they could only get 10%. Yeah, they could do that. That's super rare, though, trash can ways. That's super rare. But I gotta be correct. I do have a little cash in the safe, right? I think you would I don't think the bank's going to limit you to that. I just don't think the bank's going to be down because I think they're going to cut all. The first attack is going to be the financial institutions, right? Because if you can't use your credit card, right, there's going to be a run on the bank. That's when they probably start telling you to. The problem is the bank's not going to be able to keep a record of the transactions, so they won't be able to give you any money trash can way. That's me being old and pessimistic, though. But so that's what I think of the hit. I think they hit the financial institution. If you go, they just did a test. I think it was called Winter 2, where the banks are practicing if they got hacked, what they're going to do, right? Do they got roll over? Do they have disaster recovery? So the United States financial institution is actually doing those practice tests also. It's a good choice to learn CISP and apply it in AWS. Yeah, 100%. Those two go together because if you look at a track, you could go AWS with the CISP. Then there's a shout out to Citizen Lou, associate architect. Then Amazon actually has a cert just for security. So I'm actually going to get that book. I think I'm going to start breaking down TT. They have a specific cert just for security. I haven't looked at it to figure out, all the pieces, or is it just we talking about them now? You just get more in depth. But if you go out to AWS, they actually have a specific cert for security. And shout out to Engineering Cannabis. They actually have a machine learning cert. I was out there looking at the certs and what to get and when to get it. I would have 10K on hand, but you need to have something in a little safe. It's a little safe for you. So then from the platform, right, we getting a little more in the tech. You want to have your architectural diagrams, your data architect, platform engineering, data engineering, provision and orchestration, modern app development, CI/CD for the pipeline, right? So when you get up in the cloud, that's how they really want you to operate. They want you to check it in. It flows through the pipeline. Then automation actually going to build that VPC for you, right? Build your infrastructure, right? I'm looking up at AWS Cloud Formation. Everything comes as code, right? Code is code. Infrastructure is code. Governance is code, right? Everything's code. So that part is where you get into the platform data engineering, right? You get to the super technical part of your app, and when you put it up there, right? Let's see. So security perspective, ensure that the organization meets security objective for visibility, auditability, control, and agile. I'm just gonna call it agile, all right? So everything you do has got to be written to the logs, right? CloudTrail, CloudWatch, and because if you get hacked, you got to figure out how that happened. You figured out how that happened by your logs, right? Get them in there, get them compressed so you're not cheap. Like I said, I do a lot of IRS work and DoD work. They want you to keep 7 to 10 years of your logs, right? So that's what it's about. You use AWS CFF, Cloud Adoption Framework, to structure the selection and implementation of security controls that meet the organization needs. The roles for that is Chief Information Security Officer, IT Security Managers, and IT Security Analysts. So if you go back to my last summers, I interviewed IT managers, IT security managers. I actually have a couple CISOs coming on in the next month or so we can really figure out what they're looking for, really figure out the skills that are, really figure out what keeps them up at night, right? So they're cool people. So once again, I'm gonna have 2 CISOs on my channel. So from a security perspective, we're talking about governance, security assurance, right? Identity and access management, threat detection, vulnerability management, infrastructure protection, data protection, application security, right? Purple team, right? That's what I grew up in. I programmed probably 15 years before I got in security. Incident response, if something happened, who do we contact? What letters do we need to send out? That's big because, like I said, my client, they said they got to contact the governor if we get hacked. I was like, what? Right? So You need to know your reporting structure. Operation perspective helps you to enable run, use, and operate and recover IT workloads to the level agreed upon with your business stakeholders. Right. So for our incident response, you go to each business unit is how long can you be down and how fast do you need to be up, right? Does this business unit need to be up if we get attacked, right? There's a lot of companies and agencies and people I talk to, they have like 80 business functions they use, right? That they have documented. But in a disaster recovery, they only need to run 12 or 20, right? So you don't want to spin up stuff in DR that you don't need, right? Because usually when you're in a disaster recovery, you're probably only running half machines and half staff, right? So what needs to be spun up in that case you get hacked, right? So the recovery IT workloads to the level agreed upon with your business stake manager. Define day-to-day, quarter-to-quarter, and year-to-year business conducting. Align with and support the operations of the business. The AWS CFF helps stakeholders define current operating procedures, identifies the process changes and training need to implement a successful cloud adoption. IT operation managers and IT support managers. Right. So like you said, that's when you go up in the cloud, right? How quick do you go up? Like I said, what business units do you want to put in the cloud first? Usually you put something small and uh, not super critical, right? Because you want to test the cloud, make sure you're comfortable with it, how you move around the cloud. So from there, cloud security is observability, events, AI ops, incident management, change and release management, performance capacity, configuration management, patch management's huge right now because we getting so many hackers and some software that needs to be patched on a regular basis. So what is your process to do that systematically, right? Availability and continuability, ensure availability of business and critical information, application and services. Application management, investigate and remediate application issue in a single pane of glass. Right. The reason they say single pane of glass is you doing infrastructure patches, you doing OS patches, database, application, web server, uh, infrastructure firewall. So you need to be able to go in one place and figure out what does that look like. What is your risk from the overall organization and your patching structure, right? You gotta do like that. I enjoyed a lovely weekend ahead. Thank you, Professor Blocks. I'll be watching later as I missed the beginning due to the exam. Well, that's cool. Hope you did well on your exam. Wilton, let me know. Keep grinding, man. I enjoy it. Yeah, cool. So now we're talking about when migrating applications to the cloud, 6 of the most common migration strategies that you can be seen as rehosting, replatforming, refactoring, re-architecting, repurchasing, retaining, and retiring, right? So we'll break down each one, kind of how that moves. And it's just a graph. So if you come in, discover your accesses, and prioritize application, retaining, not moving, retire and decommission, right? Rehosting, manually install, manually config, manually deploy, replatforming, determine a new platform, modifying the underlying infrastructure, go to your migration tools, repurchasing, purchasing the COTS or SaaS and licensing, manually install and set it up in the cloud. You're going to go validation, transition, and production, right? So we should be validating everything and testing everything, right? Everything converges right there, right? Because we got a validation, aka test it, then make sure. Then if you're refactoring, rewriting, and decoupling applications, redesign applications, app code development, full system development lifecycle, integration. Once again, validation, transition, get into production. Let's make the business make money, right? This is more simpler service lift and ship. They have an AWS Application Migration Service. Database, we were reading re-platform the database, AWS Database Migration Services, right? Because you could go on-prem, and usually AWS has a service that they maintain the database and everything for you. You just worry about your code, right? Then the .NET and Java web apps, you can put to them in an application to container. It's another service, right? You can put it on EKS, ECS, or Fargate, right? So those are the two containers, Kubernetes and Docker, right? Fargate just manages that on top, right? So we'll dig down each one of those a little more. It's like actual thing when that. It's all good. It's all good. I kind of understand. I'm shocked. Which piece are you shocked with? Community solution. So I'm rambling a little bit. So let's talk about rehosting. It's also known as lift and shift. Involve moving applications without changes in the scenario of a large legacy migration, which this company is looking to implement its migration and scale quickly to meet a business case. The majority of the applications are rehosted, right? So the cool thing is if you run it on-prem and you got your own web server, app server, you can just spin those up in the cloud and run them, right? You still get a lot of savings, right? Because once the first thing is to do is get those VMs spun up, right? Get those hosted so you can get that elasticity, meaning when you need more servers to spin up, when you use less servers, it'll shrink them down, right? That's one of the first things you can build and get done when you rehost them, right? And that'll be a big money savings, right? So that's one of the I ain't gonna say easiest, but that's a lot of companies do that, just rehost it, right? Replatforming is also known as lift, tinker, and shift. Involves making a few cloud optimizations to realize a tangible benefit. Optimization is achieved without changing the core architecture of the application. Like we said, you put it up there, you just change those to virtual machines. If you're running a common database that AWS has a server, if you run an Oracle or SQL server, I would just import, export the schemas, move the data over to just run their product as a SaaS, right? So you would need less DBAs and less SA support. Amazon will take care of a lot of that for you, right? Oh, cool. I appreciate that. In fact, I got memory. I'm also looking into cybersecurity. Okay, that's cool. That is cool. Refactor, also known as re-architecting, involves reimagining how application is architected, developing by using cloud-native features. Refactor is driven by strong business need to have features, scale, or performance that would otherwise be difficult to achieve in application existing environment, right? So when you're on-prem, right, those things are hard to get. You got a requisition service, all that stuff you can spin up in the cloud, right? You can use a ton of software services, database, app server, web server, all that's as a service. The cool thing is from a security perspective, and I talked to one of my clients, their bill was 40% less. They got it back up to the same amount, but they had like 8 new security features, inspector or guard duty. There's so many other services they had. So they built all those on top of that to make it more secure, right, for the same price. So I was kind of shocked about that. Repurchasing involves moving from a traditional license to a software as a service model. For example, a business might choose to implement the repurchasing strategy by migrating from a customer relationship management system, a CRM, to specifically Salesforce, right? And just use that in the cloud. Right? Salesforce and AWS are easily connected, right? So you can do some stuff in Salesforce and VPC, VPN, that software to AWS, right, and use it as a coordinated workflow. I see a lot of people do that. So retaining costs of keeping applications that are critical for the business in the source environments. This might include applications that require major refactoring before they can be migrated, or work that can be postponed until a later time, right? So we talking about migrating AWS. Sometimes, you run out of money or you just run out of cycles, right? So you just run out of money, you run out of cycles, and you just leave it on prem and just run it as it is till you're ready to run. Some things you're going to try to do and you're going to get up in the cloud and it's not going to work right, or it's not going to spin up right, or using microservices a little different, connecting multiple VMs together, right? So you got to configure that a little different in the cloud because you got failover between data centers. It's called sticky bit. When you get your session, how do you pass your session between those data centers and regions, right? So you got to kind of think about that from a programming standpoint. This is a big one. We're trying to do a little bit. Retiring is the process of removing applications that are no longer needed, right? As you go to the cloud, some of the services that you use, especially from observability, we have all these programs we created to look at governance, look at percentages of servers, see if their operations, check the health of them. All that stuff is built into Amazon. That's what you get for the price of using Amazon, right? So if there's something we're doing and you could do it for free, right? You could just use those services and retire those apps. So part of that is opportunity evaluation, discovering and planning. Like we talk about lift and shift, right? And putting it in there. Oh, I've done that a couple times. I'm driving in the car in the pocket. My phone is in my pocket. I blocked a few people. So access and mobilize, create a business case. That's what we're talking about there on your own. Can be time consuming. Process does not always identify the most cost effective option. A business case is the first step in your migration journey. Of course, AWS has some called the Migration Evaluator. You can gain access to insight and accelerates your decision making for migration to AWS at no cost. Following the data collection, you will quickly receive an assessment including projected cost estimates and saving on running your on-prem workloads in AWS, right? So the cool feature is it's free 99. Why? AWS wants to get you in their environment so they can charge you, right? So they give you a lot of free services to help you in the cloud to get to the cloud, right? Because they know they're gonna get their money back, right? Gee, don't leave me back. I'm doing a little bit. I'm trying to get 2020 started. I'm struggling though. Community Solution Pro One. I'm trying to do a little something. I saw before the billions working out on Snapchat or I don't know, hell, TikTok or something. So he getting me motivated. But yeah, I'm trying to do a little something, get on my diet. And she stole my thunder, got me walking outside. She walking outside in Canada in the snow. I guess I can't complain too much. It's not really a lot of snow on the ground here. So yeah, I'm trying to do a little something. They also have the Migration Hub, which is one of the destinations for cloud migration and modernizations, giving you the tools you need to accelerate and simplify your journey with AWS. Perhaps you're making the case for your cloud within your organization, creating a data-driven inventory, existing IT access. Maybe you're planning, running, and tracking a portfolio of applications migrating to AWS, or you might be modernizing applications already running on AWS. In all these cases, Migration Hub can help you with your cloud transformation journey. AWS Migration Hub provides a single place to store IT assets and inventory data. So we talked about there, scanning out there, finding where your data is, finding where your security data, personal identifiable, federal tax information, health, credit card information, right? It has programs that can go out there and kind of have templates. It kind of knows the numbering structure. So if it sees it, it can say that's possible information you need to classify, right? So they're giving you these tools and services to help you, right? The one we just talked about, AWS Application Discovery, helps enterprise customer plans migration projects by gathering information about their on-prem database centers. Planning data center migrations can involve thousands of workloads that are often deeply interdependent. Server utilization data and dependency mapping are important early first steps in the migration process. AWS Application Discovery Service collects and presents configuration, usage, behavior data from your service to help you better understand your workload. The collected data is retained in encrypted format in an AWS Discovery Service data store. Right. So I'm security, so I got to figure out what you're doing with all that data and where it's at. Right. So they got in their data store and it's encrypted. It's at FIPS 140-2. That's federal encryption. Right. So AWS does all the right things. So the AWS Application Migration Services. The other stuff we were talking about was infrastructure, right? How you do it. And now we're just talking about the actual application and how you move it and how you get it over there, right? So the AWS Application Migration Service allows you to quickly realize the benefit of migrating applications to the cloud without changes and minimal downtime, right? That's the lift and shift. We're going to get it up there and optimize it later, right? AWS Application Migration Service minimize time-intensive, error-prone manual processes by automatically converting your source server from physical virtual cloud infrastructure to run on natively on AWS. It further simplifies your migration by enabling you to use the same automated process for a wide range of applications, right? So that's cool, right? So they're going to help you. Most of it's going to be free. They just want to get you in the cloud so they can charge you, right? I'm supposed to be walking more into my steps. Motion is the body lotion. AWS looks like it outperforms Google from what you have shown in these class professions. Yeah, I think they're really used for different things. I think if you're a scientific, I'm gonna send a shout out to Engineering Cannabis. I think they're more machine learning, kind of more hip on the tip of things. AWS does government boring stuff that has to have these federal compliance work, and you could check the box, but it's not as nimble, right? They're not doing the newest things. I think Google's more on the cutting edge. I talked to Google. They're young and hip. They were getting on my nerves, right? But some of the security stuff from encryption, they were like, we don't do that. I'm like, well, if you want government work, you have to do it. So I think they're working on that. But they were doing cutting edge, like engineering, cannabis, blockchain, machine learning, robotics. I think Google's ahead of the big two because I think they're working on more boring standard stuff in the government, right? Then the government's not going to be as cutting edge as Google. So I think it depends on what you need them to do. From a database migration, that's where all of you keep your data, your data store, where all the good stuff is, right? They're going to help you migrate it to the database quickly and securely. The source database remains fully operational during the migration, minimizing downtime to application around the database. The AWS Database Migration Services can migrate your data to and from most widely used commercial and open source databases. Database migration services include homogeneous migrations such as Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, right? As well as heterogeneous migration between different database platforms, right? Oracle's is super expensive, so maybe you want to go to MySQL, right? They help you go from Oracle to MySQL in the cloud and save money, right? So that means between different database platforms. I wouldn't do that, but I can see smaller companies, more nimble companies doing that. AWS VMware is perform a public cloud partner for our vSphere based workloads. VMware and AWS partnership delivers faster, easier, and cost-effective path to a hybrid cloud while allowing customers to modernize application, enabling faster time to market, increased innovation. Use your current skills processes to deliver secure virtual apps and desktops with our virtual desktop infrastructure (VDI) to enable employees to work securely from any location. Right. So virtual desktop means your actual PC is a virtual PC inside AWS, right? So when you connect from your PC to VDI, right, you get locked into a, a VDI virtual machine, right? So you can do all your work there, right? So if you click email, you get a virus, you in a virtual VM, you can just tear down that VM and spin it back up, right? So the hard part is how do you get the data and your scripts from your laptop up to the VDI, right? And how you control it and make sure it gets scanned, right? But that's the future. VMware is used in most large companies. So when you hook those together, like you said, you can use those same skills up in AWS with your VMware infrastructure team. Right? There's a few things in that VMware does that AWS doesn't do. So that's why that partnership is so unique. Which is better concentration to take, cybersecurity or cloud? Um, I would go the cloud first because that's going to teach you basic things you need to operate in the cloud and get comfortable. Then, if you look at their track for certificates, one of the latest certificates is security. So I would start on the cloud so you can get familiar with VMs, VPCs, Beanstalk program. And I think you need to understand that first before you know how to secure it in the cloud. Um, so then that way you put them on. I work with a lot of young guys. I think they're good. I think but you still got to learn that before you learn how to secure it. So I would just go ahead and take the cloud part, get comfortable with that, then add the security on top. And if you're looking for certs in there, that's how it goes. It goes practitioner. You can do developer or architect. Then you go from architect, which is learning the cloud, to security certificate. So if you go out there, look at their certification matrix, that's how it rolls. So Google is using us everyday folks to practice. Facts. I think Google's safe. I just think they don't do that government level security. But I take that back. They're they're getting ready to do it because there's a $10 billion Jedi contract. Everybody's trying to get a piece of it. So Google's got their government services a lot better. AWS just had a 12-year head start on everybody. So, um, and they took all the government rules and regulations and just built it into their data center from the ground up. So, um, once again, migration, AWS Data Sync is a secure online data transfer service that simplifies, automate, and accelerate and copy terabytes of data from to and from AWS Storage Center. It easily migrates or replicates large data sets without having to build custom solution or oversee repetitive tasks. DataSync can copy data between NFS, network file systems, SMBs, server message box. I'm not a big SMB fan. I think they're a little insecure, but they got a service from Hadoop if you do a NoSQL, a distributed file system, self-managed object storage. We're going to talk about these coming up. AWS Snowcone, Amazon S3, Amazon Elastic File System, Amazon FSx for Windows, and Amazon FSx for Lustre File System. So we're going to talk about the AWS Snow Cone devices. So they're cool. But yeah, so that can set up somewhere where you save data on prem. It'll just copy where you want into the cloud. So when you're ready to stop using your on prem stuff, your data's already up there. So from the sync, that shows you your shared file system, which once again could be any of the ones listed. Data sync. TLS means it's just being encrypted in transit, which is cool. It hits your data sync up on AWS, and it tells you where you want it to do. S3 bucket, EFS file system, Windows, KMS is your encryption keys, uh, infrastructure and management, cloud trail. So that tells you, you put it in a bucket, then these are the ways you can lock it and make sure nobody's stealing it. Right? We talked about cloud trails and CloudWatch. Anybody touches anything, changes anything, or deletes anything, that information gets written into CloudTrail. And if the security team wants to look at all the data in the credit card shouldn't be touched. So if somebody changes it, CloudWatch will send us an email or send us some to our phone. So So that tells you how that data sync's working and how you would use it. What is the JEDI contract? So yeah, if you Google it, the government had a $10 billion contract to award cloud vendors contracts to help the government put their data in the cloud instead of on-prem, like we talked about, is better and secure. Originally, the Trump administration awarded it to Azure from Microsoft because they hate Jeff Bezos. So when Biden came in, they split the $10 billion contract up. I believe, within, I think it's probably going to be 10 vendors. AWS going to get a big piece. Azure is going to get big piece. Microsoft, Google's going to get a big piece. Then they probably take another 500 or $1 billion for the rest of the players. Rackspace, Salesforce, Oracle, right? They're spread $300-400 million between those rest of them. So that's what it is, Snuggles. This is a big government contract toward the cloud vendors because they're trying to get all the government into the cloud to save money, right? Because they're struggling with that on-prem. Let me go up a little bit on that one. Let's see. Sparks in the house. Snuggles always in. Shout out to Snuggles. I'm gonna drop the link and Snuggles gonna come up today. Shout out to Snuggles. I'm gonna drop the link in a minute. She's gonna come up and chop it up. So this is AWS Data Sync. It just shows you more devices. And in the yellow box, it tells you FedRAMP means it's government certified to work with those services. PCI DS is credit cards, so it tells you which one. SOC compliant, usually just kind of generic one for they work with any and government. So it just tells you the 3 layers of data sync and how you can use them and what security level they'll be at using those using those particular services, right? Where I work at, I help the company review any software coming in their organization. So if they start using AWS, I got to go through and make sure each one of those services is fair, right, compliant, and can be used in a government data center. So uh, I think so. Community. Now I'm nervous. I think so. I think so. Yeah, she's always on. I see her on Bernard Riley's. Well, she's everywhere. I think the first time I saw her was on Bernard Riley. So I think, yeah, I think I watched Bernard's show not much, but I think the first show she was on Bernard Riley's. Another one is AWS Transfer, fully support file transfer over SFTP, FTPS, FTP directly in and out of a S3 bucket and EFS. AWS helps you seamlessly migrate your file transfer workload with AWS Transfer. Uh, by integrating with existing authentication systems, so nothing changes. Your customer, partner, internal systems of their application fully managed as highly available infrastructure. AWS transparently operates and manage all of the compute, storage, and other infrastructure necessary to maintain high availability and performance to your endpoint, right? So you always have customers uploading you files one at a time and one off. So you use your SFTP, right? Just secure FTP. They got things called FileZilla and 3 other products. It's open source. You log in, it connects to your AWS. You drop the file on it, and AWS will move it to an S3 bucket, a Unix file system, right? So, what we do is we take you, log in your password. Depending on if it's something super valuable, we'll make you MFA in when you do that, right? Then when you drop the file, it's got to be a certain name before we move it back into our infrastructure, right? Somebody could try to put a virus in there. So when you drop the file, we're going to scan it, make sure no virus on it. Then if it's the proper template naming, we're going to move it back to our infrastructure, right? And have people look at it. That kind of rolls through, right? configuring existing usable application, drop it in there. And two, when you drop it, you can convert the file. You can load the file. You can transform the file into a file format you want. Move it to the S3 or EFS. Then back there later, you can process it, analyze it. That is available for a broad way of use cases, right? So no one knows. That is true, Wally. I'm guessing. I'm guessing. Maybe Snuggles can give us a little a little clarification on that. So I don't know where I came up with that. I do not know 100% on Snuggles. I don't know. I don't know. Mm. The Snow Film is a collection of physical devices that help to physically transport up to an exabyte of data in and out of AWS. The AWS Snow Film is composed of snow cone, snow ball, and snowmobile, right? So these physical things AWS sends to you because sometimes when you send it over the internet, the bill's gonna be too high, it's gonna be too slow. Because if you're talking about a couple petabytes, I don't think it'll make it. So they send a device to you. You load the device up, give it a password, lock it down. It's encrypted. Then you can send it back, or they'll come and get it. Right. So that's the cool part of that. Snow Cone is small, rugged, and secure. Edge computing, data transfer devices. It features two CPUs, 4 gig of memory, and 8 terabytes of usable storage. It offers two type of devices. One is the Snowball Edge storage optimized devices are well suited for large scale data migration, recurring transfer workflows, in addition to local computing with high capacity. Storage is 8 terabytes of hard disk capacity and block volumes. Amazon S3 compatible, so that's where you load it back up. 1 terabyte of solid state drive for block volumes. Compute 40 vCPUs, 8 gigabytes of memory to support Amazon EC2 one instance, equivalent to a C5 chip. So you can move a lot of data. Moving that over the internet would cost you way too much money and be too slow, right? So they trying to give you stuff that you can put on prem, hook it up to your data center just like it's a disk, and just copy it to it, right? It's gonna look like an S3 bucket like you're in AWS. So that's the cool part about it, right? The second one is the 52208, provides powerful computing. So you can see it. I'm not gonna read it out, but once again, that can it's really just like a portable hard drive, right? So my hand came up so I mean, I'm working on. Oh, that's cool. So that's used for I'll mess up there. That's a PHP framework, ain't it, Sparks? Ain't that a PHP IDE or framework for PHP? What's up, Big Bad? Bull, I'm glad you can join us. Ain't that for PHP, Sparks? I think I was looking at that a while ago. So oh, Snowmobile is an exabyte scale data transfer service used to move an extremely large amount of data to AWS. You could transfer up 100 petabytes per snowmobile. It's a 45-foot long, ruggedized shipping container pulled by a semi trailer truck. Snowmobile makes it easy to move massive volumes of data in the cloud, including video libraries, image repositories, or even a complete data center migration. Transferring data with Snowmobile is more secure, fast, and cost effective. A snowmobile will be transported to your data center. AWS personnel will configure it for you so it can be accessed as a network storage target. When your snowmobile is on site, AWS personnel will work with your team to connect a removable high-speed network switch from the snowmobile to your local network, and you can begin your high-speed data transfer from any number of sources within your data center to the snowmobile. After you load your snowmobile, it is driven back to AWS where data is important to a data center. They actually do. They give you an armed guard with it while it's on site too. That's the cool part about it. So I dropped the link if you want to come up. Here it is. I don't know why I look at it. It's actually a semi trailer with data hookups, and that whole back end trailer is um, data drives. Right? We were talking about the smaller ones, right? I'm not sure if I'm new to this building. Well, that's cool. Shout out to you. That's how you learned them. I'm pretty sure because I was looking at that's a IDE for a PHP though. Shout out to that. I think I'm gonna use that this summer, man. Sparks. I'm thinking about doing a small a PHP class for middle school kids. Just kind of get them started building just some basic stuff, web pages. Just trying to get them started. So let me know if you like that, man. Utilize the JEP, Python, and JSON. Oh yeah, that's cool. JSON is big on automation, especially in the cloud. That's good. That's good knowledge for you, Spark. So yeah, I'm thinking about teaching like I said, a light middle school class this summer for the babies, right? But that's it. Once again, I don't know why I like seeing the snowmobile. You got a semi with just racks and racks of data that you come in, you hook your networks to there. Oh, that's cool. So that's cool. But once again, that's one thing I like about AWS. There were some problems. Some big data centers was like, this is not working. We can't get it to transfer to the network. The bill for transferring is going to be too much. AWS like, we'll send a semi out there to get your data, right? So shout out to AWS. They always innovating. They always innovating and making things happen though. So I really enjoyed that though. So I think that's all I had for today. I dropped the link if you want to come up and chop it up. Like I said, come check. We're doing trust wills in the states tomorrow. I have an attorney coming in. She's gonna do a class, a short class, nothing too long. Just how to think about your state. I'm getting up there, so I'm getting my will in the state. I tell my son I'm messing my money up when I die, so try to get my paperwork up there. Death on benefits. So when you go to the bank, they can get the money out, but not before, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about that tomorrow. But that's it. And like I said, we're gonna hopefully start labbing soon. Just want to talk about when you are on prem and you need to get it to the cloud. What does that look like? What services are available? What techniques are available? And even from a business perspective, right? They're broken down: people, platform, business, right? Because you got to convince your management, right? It's a good idea to go up in the cloud, right? So that was kind of it. I'm off tomorrow from MLK Day, so I'm always working though. So I'll be YouTubing and working on a few labs. Don't be tricking me. don't be facts, Wiley. I told him don't be spending my money. I told him I'm leaving half of it to his kids because I know he's gonna spend it all up, Wiley. I was yelling at him today when he came over, but it's hard for me to yell at because I'm 5'8". He's 5'11", 350. So I told him if we get into it, it's gonna have to be for real. Nah, he's a good kid. I'll worry about it. But people picking on me, I call him because he about that life. so yeah, so we're polar opposites. So now you gotta watch them kids, Wiley. You gotta be watching them kids though. But I'm dropping a link for Snuggles. I dropped the link for Snuggles. It's down there for you, Snuggles. I need you to click that button, Snuggles. I need you to click that link, Snuggles. So yeah, I did one where the next class we probably start. Shout out to Keep It Techie. He was freestyling yesterday, the stream. He was picking up stuff. We was checking him out. Go subscribe to him. Yeah, I dropped the link for Snuggles. Snuggles ain't gonna click on it though. I've always, I guess that name, I always thought she was. I just assumed she was a lady. Maybe I'm wrong. I think Wally asked that question. I don't know. I just assumed. I don't think she's ever said. I don't know. I like I said, I first seen her on Bernard Riley. Oh, then she was on my man. Oh my God, I can't. For the Record TV. That's when I really started hanging out with her. When I was over there checking them out on For the Record TV. That's when I seen her a lot. So that's funny. Salute to my man. Everybody go subscribe to him. Like I said, he the one that interviewed me first and kind of got me in this space. Shout out to him. I always giving out great videos. Snuggle don't want no smoke today. No, I'm just playing. I'm a laid back dude. Snuggle ain't gonna never come up. I'm gonna have to get her a cool tone like she's got on Bernard Riley. That's what I'm thinking too, the way she posed. But I don't know. I'm just guessing, community solution. I'm just guessing. I would think that the way she poses her questions, I'm with you on that. But I mean, I'm still guessing on that. Yep, shout out to the kids. So that's it. Like I said, I'm gonna be collabing with everybody. So you'll see everybody. Like I said, I'm hopefully I'm gonna start doing AWS Lives once again. I'm gonna do an architecture diagram, and Gabe, gonna walk through it and talk about where would you attack it, how would you attack it, how would I block it, what am I open to. So I'm kind of getting that finished up. So I'm hoping to get that finished in 2 weeks. So that's all I got. I'm going to go relax and get a little bit. I appreciate everybody from coming to check me out. I'm sure I'm going to see y'all on these YouTube streets. I'm still trying to get used to my restream setup. It's going pretty good. I'm super happy with it. I'm just trying to get a little better. Everybody else got so much going on. Before the Billions got so much going on his thing. I feel like I'm way behind, man. I feel like I'm way behind. Everybody have a nice weekend. Once again, come check out our MLK special. Trust Wheels in the State. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Chicago time. And if you go on my channel, click on it. Videos, my lives shows up at the top. So you can click on it and see when what times it shows up for where you located at. We know one thing: Snuggles can type fast as hell when she has that facts. While I be struggling, she can. I ain't gonna call her she. Whoever she is, she can get it in there. You welcome, Sparks. I'm out, man. Everybody have a good week. Come check me out tomorrow, man. Come check me out tomorrow. I'm out.